I've been playing around recently with Magical Musket and Runick combined, the hybrid. Magical Musket is one of my main decks. Uh, I've played it for years at this point, and the Runick stuff just basically amplifies the power level to where you aren't completely out of your depth when you're playing against meta. Um, you're still at a significant disadvantage. I'll show you the deck list for a second, right off the bat. I don't pretend this is optimized. Three Caspar and three Starfire are standard, and then because of the grind game, I like two Wild, which is unusual. I've only got two for Kid Brave and one for Doc, one for Calamity. I honestly, the ratios are not the greatest. It's pick and choose to taste. Uh, I don't know if I mentioned I'm playing in the event for this, so I'm limited only light cards. So I've got Nib and I've got one Kaiju. I normally run more than one Kaiju in this deck. Uh, Magical Musket likes to go second. Runick is your draw engine. Honestly, I think there's better Runick players that could comment on what you do with Runick than what I than what than what I could do. Um, I'm basically minimizing the magical musket stuff to just plus off of max. Most of the spells and traps, well, just spells, are either going second, tools like Regeki, Harpy's Feather, Dark Ruler No More, etc., or their runic engine. The extra deck is not optimal by any stretch of the imagination. We're going rogue for sure. I don't have double copies of Hugin or triple. I only have one, and then I don't have the rest of the runic stuff. I'm missing. The other thing is some of the stuff that goes with the magical musket in my regular build is missing as well because I don't have access to anything except light. Um, there's the Link to Fiend, the Muckraker from the Underworld that I really like in this deck, and you just can't put it in here, so it's not here. Anyway, let's get into the play. I decided I would go with a loss first because often that shows you more than a win and show mistakes. This deck can go either first or second. My normal build, I almost always go second without the runic stuff, but with the runic, uh, honestly, first, I prefer first, which is strange in a magical musket deck. But anyway, they go first. Labrynth. Labrynth is tough for magical musket in general. When I'm playing pure musket, I basically know that I'm going to lose unless they misplay. It's pretty much standard. Okay, here we go. Starfire. I actually do something a little strange here. I actually destroy the imperm, and the reason I destroy this imperm is right here. If this card was set before activation is on the field at resolution for the rest of the turn, all other spell traps effects in this column are negated. And is on the field at resolution. I basically am destroying it here with runic destruction in order to make sure that it does not negate my crooked crown. Moving on. Oh, I had set the scythe. I've been playing scythe in this event, and I honestly think I shouldn't have. I've been running into Labrynth an awful lot, and they don't use the extra deck. There's a couple of other decks that I've been playing against that kind of they can use the extra deck, but they don't. So a scythe doesn't really do much for you. Anyway, onward. I'm special summoning Doc directly into the column that they've already got set. They could have probably done something with their set, and it would have screwed me out of the Doc activation, but they let me do this. Now I get the Doc. Oh, no, I don't. This is almost always a mistake that people make. When facing Magical Musket is obviously not a meta threat, but almost everyone targets the Link Monster, and you want to negate the effect for the Link Monster. Like I don't want you to negate it, but if you remove it from the field, I'm actually not terribly worried about it. The only effect that it's got, where is it? Let me pull it up. It's incredibly powerful. It's, depending on what their field looks like, it's a +5 or a +6. When it's link summoned, you can add spell traps, magical musket spell traps, with different names up from your deck up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, or you can do it for traps. You can special summon musket monsters from your deck with different names up to the number of spell traps. But there isn't any on-field effect. It's purely summon effect, and so it cracks me up that, I mean, I know people can't read in this game in general, but this is literally the worst hit. Like if you're going to pop or bounce or anything like remove from play, any of that, it's the worst hit because once it hits the field, its effect goes off. You want to negate the effect, but you don't care about the body. I can't change it into defense, so you can just run over it and cause damage. But it's something that people do all of the time. Onward. I actually do fairly well in this duel. I make a few mistakes, which is pretty usual for me. Battle phase skipped. One of the things that I've messed up quite a bit with the Runick stuff is in the Master Duel interface, you have to press the battle phase in order for it to skip. And basically, if you skip directly to end phase, it it doesn't quote skip the battle phase, and so you'll have to skip the battle phase the next turn that you have a battle phase. It's kind of a ridiculous setup. Like you would think that it would register for the next turn and then not register, but I've had that happen more than once. I put Kaspar there specifically because I wanted his effect. He's probably the best musket card, at least of the monsters. You'll notice I keep trying to put monsters in front of their set cards. It's a good strategy against any of the back row decks. I go for cross domination, and I honestly think this is a mistake. I probably should have gone for something else here. Um, I didn't really want to go for Desperado because they get their effects when traps are activated, but even that might have been better. Um, Dancing Needle could have been better depending on what they've got in their graveyard. Yeah, Dancing Needle would have probably taken care of the Labrynth, but the big welcome. Or I could have gotten the Last Stand, the counter trap that negates from the hand. I literally made the worst call. I do get to use it here, which is nice. I'm not punished for my mistake, but I do think I made a mistake there. They go for Muckraker. Muckraker, how I miss you. I took Backjack into the grave. I'm basically trying to get Kaspar out of an area where I can actually use him, and then I don't remember which one of these special summon. Okay, I special summoned. He actually sets a trap, which I don't know that he was paying attention to the effect that I activated. If he wouldn't have done that right then, I would have only gotten 2 monsters. This I definitely make a mistake on. I play Runick Slumber and I target Magical Musketeer Kaspar because I really want Kaspar's effect, and this is not a great call. What I should have done, because I didn't remember at this point what this was. I actually don't remember what it is right now, even though I'm sure that it was revealed. Um, I want Kaspar's effect because I'm completely handless at this point, and I target him kind of telegraphing to my opponent that I do not want this destroyed. And what I should have done is played it in this same column so I got the effect, and then targeted this, the wild, because that's what they target with Dogmatica, giving the illusion that I'm trying to protect wild. This doesn't go well for me. He uses Welcome Labrynth and then adds the destruction effect from Labrynth to destroy Caspar, and so I don't get the effect off of Caspar at all. This was a complete waste of time for me. They set a trap, naturally. I do get the wild over here. I keep hoping when they destroy the scythe. They do eventually in this duel, but it takes a while and it's completely fruitless. I think seriously at this point, when I was actually on the timer and in the game, I was thinking very seriously about doing Underworld Goddess because I have it in this deck. But I just from this point right here, I honestly don't think that I could win. It was iffy, at the very beginning when you know that it's Labrynth. I didn't really think I was going to win anyway. But this, um, I don't have any spell traps. That's basically the problem. One of which, the misplay that I did with Caspar and Wild, that hurt me for sure. And then I probably should have gone for spell traps here with the last max, but I didn't think about it at the time. How do you pronounce that? The chandelier. I do that basically to get it out of my hand. I'm not entirely sure it was a good idea because they just discard to bring it right back. It didn't really get me anything. Now they're just going to go through my entire monster field. Now they get scythe locked, and it doesn't matter. What with that field, what do you even need? At this point, you know that I'm coming up with a draw. That's all I've got. I've got one card. I'm basically hoping that it's a monster, specifically a magical musket monster, so I can go into max and get a ridiculous amount of cards. But at this stage, even the 4 monsters, when that was on board, I was thinking I was losing, and I'm still in a losing position. There's basically nothing I can do. And I get it. I hope that he activates, he doesn't, so I immediately go into max. +6. Cross Domination, Dancing Needle, Last Stand, Fiendish Deal, Desperado. I basically just use it to get points for the rest of the duel. He sets off the big welcome, and then I set off the rest of the stuff in my hand, and then that's the end of the game. Too bad that doesn't apply. There's really nothing more to be said.